Hey, down the vote.
Instead of running your mouth and complaining.
Down the vote.
We ain't got much.
Did you hear Jamal when he called in? He already called in laughing. You know, he was sitting there with those jokes ready to. He said Jamal was saying, if I don't get on the line this morning, I'm not going to be able to get these out of my system. Is he writing his material the night before?
No, I actually like this one. This is actually not Larry Wu. This is Dale.
This is Dale
Robinson.
Right.
Yeah, this is tough. We haven't played this in a while.
He has a message in this music.
Well, this was out of the Stewart case,
Right.
racial profiling.
Have you played this for the movie folk? Have they heard this?
I gave it to Adrian Walker.
Okay, that's right.
I did give it to Adrian Walker, but I may want to give it to. But before I do that, I need to check in with the
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I could talk to the folks from HBO because they're doing that documentary on the Stewart case. But that was So we're here again, Boston Black News. We are talking about what happened yesterday here at Global Ministries Christian Church, where the church stood tall, supporting our community by giving a message of hope, as well as being able to provide food from Hopa, Taste of Eden, a local black business owner in the Carbon Square area. The food was delicious, and we did have some chicken. Brothers got to have them chicken and some peas rice and peas or peas and rice.
You can say either way.
Okay, well, it was good with macaroni, cheese, and all that, and a bag of chips.
And they had so many canned goods downstairs for folk who wanted that, or
Right.
boxes of macaroni and rice. The Massachusetts trial court brought us over 17 boxes of that food to give away, and Priscilla went to the Department of Public Health,
Okay.
and got hand sanitizers, got gloves, got COVID-19 testing kits. She just put hundreds of things together with a little note from the church to everybody as they were leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that I want us to do again and again and again. But we do not want to just give to people and not hold them accountable for. You got a full belly now. You've got some groceries you can live on now. You have some way of cleaning your hands, and we've given you some tools. And how can we help you even more to understand how city government functions? Because we don't want you dependent upon us. Whenever I used to sleep in those drug houses, and I always have to clarify that, because some people may think that I had a drug problem and I was sleeping in drug houses. When I used to sleep in drug houses to push the drug dealers out of a neighborhood at the request of the people who live there, we always said we want to train people and teach them what to do because we're going to leave.
Right.
And the press is going to go.
Right.
So while the press is there and while we're here, let's talk. We'll tell you what you can do. We'll connect you to the people downtown. We'll connect you to the police officers that we trust. And that was so successful. We need to do it now as it relates to civic engagement. We need to say to people, we'll help you out. But now we need to teach you how to do this on your own. Because you can make your own telephone calls, right? You can hold those elected officials accountable yourself.
Yeah, and even in the church, you know, the pastor will give a dynamic message. Folks get all emotionally, start dancing and shouting and so forth. But then on Monday, they're hit with the bills. They don't know what to do. So in our messages that we give, we got to make sure we give information where folks can live throughout the week and live throughout live their lives, as far as making sure they're able to take care of their families. And that's been a problem that I've seen that not a problem. I should say that's an issue that we need to work on in the body of Christ. 617-282-0685. I know Priscilla had an announcement with the Institute that it's coming up at the Bruce Bowling Building. I know she's probably, if she's still listening, she can come back and call and tell a little bit about what's going on with that. But I do want to remind people that in this year, as the year closes, that we're looking for folks to be able to support the ministry here as far as Boston Black News and Boston Praise Radio and TV, to give a generous contribution. Brother T. Clark had, Michael T. Clark had mentioned that he had put up, he'll be putting up $100 and ask everyone that's running for office, everyone that's in office to match that and probably more, so that we can continue to broadcast and bring the news to you in 351 cities and towns across Massachusetts. So we want to make sure we continue to do that. We want to improve. We want to expand the station into the other room. We were able to show some of the folks the station. They did not know we were here. And please come by and check us out so you can see the work that we're doing, meet some of the broadcasters. And we also still have some canned goods that we're giving out to the community,
Right.
as well as some PPP gear so that we can make sure that we are prepared for this pandemic and all these other contagious diseases that are going on.
We have a caller who's on the air. Now, as you notice, I'm very professional in the way that I take calls. And as you notice, I didn't pick up the phone and ask who it is. I basically just press one button and the person is on and ready to go. That's really proficiency. And I believe that this is a caller who wants to be on the broadcast, not somebody from Verizon. Hello, caller. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Pastor. Good morning, Ron. It's me again.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted you to announce the launch and to talk a little bit about
So it's the Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute, and it is a civic engagement program that is geared towards 14-year-olds to 24-year-olds. And it's an 8-week course where we teach young folks about civics, about the things that we've been talking about, getting them involved, having different speakers come in and talk to them about, how do you, what is it that you can do? How do you do it? How, the different branches of the government, how do you, if you're looking to run for office, if you have aspirations, you think about it. You got to know your history. And, we have reporters come in, elected officials. And so I'm very excited about it. We're launching it January the 15th at the Bruce Bowling Building from 3 to 5:30. And, we're looking at getting some of our young folks. We already have a couple of students that are signing up. And we did it already through Zoom during the pandemic. We know it worked, and so we're going to continue this program, and hopefully we'll get young people more involved around the voting process, around, how do you do it, why do you do it, how do we hold our elected officials accountable, how do we approach them, and so I think it's a good idea to have our elected officials on so they can talk about what they do and how they do it. And I also feel like all the elected officials, black and white, need to have young interns in their offices. I don't know how many of them do it. I know Julia does it, but of the other ones, I don't know. And so it's a program to really educate our young folks, get them involved in the voting process, and teaching them so that they'll know, what to do and how to do it and why they're doing it.
Right.
So.
I
appreciate you letting me to plug that in.
Yeah, who's Marcus Anthony Hall?
Marcus Anthony Hall was the 31-year-old black man who was shot June 14, 2016, in the barbershop. He took his 4-year-old son to the barbershop, and he was gunned down. Mm-hmm. And he was also a member of my old organization, BG. And so he worked with us. He actually came on the show one time, but I had him and Lakia on, but we cannot find that recording. I don't think it was recorded that day that he was on there. But, yes, he was a young black man trying to do things tried to do good things in the community, and was turned down by several. I hate to say it, but churches that just said, "Well, you're not a member here. You don't pay tithes here, so we can't help you or assist you or anything." And I just thought that was horrible.
Well, Ron's not a member here, but we let him do things here.
I know that. I know.
And
I'm y'all talking about me now. I'm an asset here. Don't you? I'm not baggage. I'm not baggage. Don't. I'm an asset to this station. So let's get that straight.
well,
Ron.
Yes.
I said, at least we talk about you to your face and not behind your back.
That's right. No, I did talk behind his back. I'm confessing it now because the guilt is all over me.
Yeah,
but,
that's what happened.
But Priscilla, he's not a member of this church like you and I are. You understand what I'm saying? See, you and I, Pastor Hobbs and Renee, we're all members of this church. And I can name a whole lot more. But it's okay because even though he hasn't come to a service or walk down the aisle to say, I just want to accept Jesus. Oh, no, that's right. He is a Christian. I want to be a member. Even though he hasn't done that, he's right. He is an asset here to the church.
Yes.
And that's not why we extend all our love to him. We extend our love to him because Ron is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
When he's right there with you, he's a friend.
Okay. Let's stop talking about...
Okay. When he's not there with you.
Okay, wait a second. I'm right here right now. Okay.
I can't see you. There are too many cameras in front.
No, Priscilla, I think what you're doing is very good. And I'm glad you're starting it at an early age because that's a vacuum that we have in our schools because these young people do not know and they're not exposed to government. They're not exposed to civic engagement. And then we wonder why when they turn 18 they don't register to vote. So I think it's good. Dunk the Vote did a leadership institute in 2005. Was it 2005? No, I'm sorry. In the year 2004, it was Rose Aruda, and I had about 20 students. They were all 21 and over. Tito and Sean Daughtry. I mean, we had an awesome class, and folks went on to, whether they ran for office or worked in government, just from their training. And one of the things that we did, not only did we teach folks about government, we also showed them some of the power brokers in the city of Boston. Now, we went to Trinity, we went to Michael Freeze, his office, and different places in the city that we're not pretty much welcomed. And so It was really an opportunity. And I said, one of these days we need to own all this. And that was our goal, to kind of expose the folks and myself, because I had went through the Lead Boston and the Center for Collaborative Leadership Emerging Leaders program. And so I got that exposure, and I wanted to share that with my family, my colleagues and staff, so that they could be exposed. Because, sometimes what happens, we have one person who's the leader, he gets shot down, and then all of a sudden the program dies. And particularly, that pretty much almost happened to Dunk the Vote. As far as I went into the governor's office, and then Tito went in there, Rose Aruda went in there, and many others that were a part of the Leadership Institute. And I couldn't blame them because we didn't have the resources to continue to pay them. But It is so good that other folks are doing something, because it is so much to be done. And if anything I can do to help, just let me know. And because I think it's important that we share resources, and we don't do that enough. Because what can happen, folks can be contracted out, or they can be, collaborating in various projects, so that we can be very wise about how we spend our resources, so that we can be effective in our community. 617,
exactly.
Yep, 617-282-0685. We're having a conversation about community building, and we need to start over. Just get it right, because right now things are really fragile. We're very isolated amongst neighbors, whether it be from social media, whether it be from, the distractions of society, wars, and all these other things.
Right.
And, excuse me?
Life.
Life, yeah, and life challenges.
Yeah.
I had mentioned
Yeah.
earlier we had a very difficult year with Dunk the Vote. Three of our members, Larry Wu and Sid Topo, who was one of our major donors, and Florella, who one of our policy makers and graphic artists and writers, all passed away this year. 1 year, three
Wow.
people. So it was a big challenge for us this year. But we're bouncing back. We have our leadership team, and actually one of our members of our leadership team ran for governor, Chris Jones, out in Arkansas, and he was the Democratic nominee. So I mean, there are little bits and pieces that folks are doing here and there, but it's time for us to come together. We're not all going to be unified.
Correct.
Everyone's not going to be on board. Go with what
Yeah.
we have. Let's build from that. And as we become successful, folks want to be a part of success. So again, I remember in '92 when we started Dunk the Vote. It was me, my wife, and a couple other people, and people were laughing at us. They were like, "Basketball, come on!" And then when we reached 1,500 people in 3 days, it was like people started paying attention. And then during the hip
Yeah.
hop summit with your brother Kenny, we
Yeah.
registered 10,000 people in 4 weeks. You don't hear about that anymore. So
Yeah.
it's some things that we need to do differently. I know we're living in a
Yeah.
different time and era, but there are things that we can do, small things, as we're starting to these rallies on Saturdays, provided we, make that a definitive date on January 14th. We just build, just continue to build so our people are educated and
Yep.
enough, finding out who their elected officials, how to access resources so we can be more efficient in service delivery and constituency services.
Well, I will be calling on you because I'm gonna need your help.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. 617-282-0685. We're here at Boston Black News. Those of you who want to support us, you can send a donation, a generous contribution. It's the end of the year. You can be able to use it. Cash App BPRTV. It will be going towards equipment, being able to continue to provide information to all our viewers and listeners throughout the city, throughout the state, and throughout the country and the world. We are here right in the historic Carbon Square. Make sure you get folks to listen in. Call in. Let's build a beloved community that Dr. King had talked about, but we need to continue to do it. So, what did you think about last night, Priscilla?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Being able to serve the people, and see them come in and enjoy the food. That actually was my first time being in that type of capacity. And Sister Edna ain't no joke. That's all I got to say.
Oh yeah. Is that the sister,
Yeah.
the mother of the church? She's one of the mothers in the church, right? Hello.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sister Edna. Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, I met
She's
her.
in charge. I believe she heads up our hospitality,
Mm-hmm.
and she, everything. The food was good. People were respectful, and I was glad to see Aaron and Ed and them come in.
It was
Because
good.
yeah, it was. And I'm so glad you gave out their phone numbers because I saw they were trying to have them call you.
Yeah. See,
I don't know why. You ain't no elected official.
and I don't get
You
paid
all.
by the city.
That's right. But
Right.
I really enjoyed it. I would have stayed, but I did have another engagement. So, yeah.
You stayed the whole time, didn't you?
No, I had to leave because I had to go to Kwanzaa.
Oh,
I've
okay.
been going to Kwanzaa all week because with our other organization, the Black Local Organizing Committee.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And
we
today is Kwanzaa, and what is the day for
today is Nia. Actually, Nia is at the Boys and Girls Club,
Okay.
and it's the sponsors are the Black Social Workers of Boston, the Four Star Dance Corp, and Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute were the sponsors. So we always do it at the Boys Club. We always do near purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so, come on out. I mean, people have been really coming out. Last night was at Prince Hall, and it was packed in there. It was, everybody, a lot of folks were there. It was nicely set up. It was really a nice event. The nation put on, and the four-star dancers and the drummers, of course. So, but it was really nice, and it was good to see people because hadn't seen people in years.
Really? So is it like old school? Is it young people? Is it a combination of both?
Yeah. Yep. They had all the young people come up and do the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Every night they had young folks coming up doing that, and the meaning of Kwanzaa and why we do it. And we need to be practicing those principles every day. I remember from Brother Charles, he used to always every day he would talk about Kwanzaa. Not Kwanzaa, the principles.
Right.
And if we did that, I believe that we really got back to the 7 principles, we could do a whole lot. It's a matter of us uniting and having, wanting to do better.
Yeah. And also, don't you think it's also like the structure? I mean, what you don't know, you won't know, right? I mean, it's like if you're not taught it, I mean, like you said, you haven't seen folks in a while, and we blame a lot on the pandemic, but also it's isolation. Folks are in their homes, on their phones, on their computers, and that deteriorates our social fabric. I'm telling you, some of these young people that I know that are on their computers and their phones, they don't know how to even communicate. As far as social skills.
Yeah, because they tweet. I mean, they text a lot. They don't even talk.
They don't. And you can call them. They won't pick up the phone. But if you text them, they'll respond. I just don't understand that. And so it gets you in the way. It becomes a way for you. You start to change your ways of reaching them. Well, they're not going to pick up, so you're going to text, right?
Yeah.
But this has been, I have to go into another subject. This has been an historic year of firsts. The Banner did a story on the first Black Latino communities make political gains in Boston. They made reference to Andrea Campbell, who is a statewide Attorney General. She got a statewide office, as well as there were some other firsts that it took place. Let me see what else they had mentioned. A couple of other folks.
First governor woman elected,
openly gay. That's first.
Yeah.
And then you had the first. They talked about after decades of incremental gains and setbacks, the 7-vote majority on the council, coupled with the first women of color elected to the mayor's office, demonstrated the potential for change in a majority of people of color city. Two African American, a Cape Verdean woman, 2 Dominican women, and a Puerto Rican man rounded out the council at the beginning of the year. Although the departure of Lydia Edwards from the council in May after her January win in the special election for the Suffolk and Middlesex District State Senate seat dropped the numbers back down to 6. Edwards' replacement for the East Boston Charlestown North End District 1 City Council seat, Gabriella Coletta, has, however, voted with the progressive-leaning people of color majority, helping to preserve the bloc's power. So things are changing slowly.
Right.
Did you know who she is? Do you know her, Gabriella Coletta?
I didn't know her until I seen her because I had forgot all about that Lydia left. And I didn't know who the new city councilor was, but I did meet her during the redistricting.
Yeah,
that's when I first saw her.
Yeah, we need to get her on the broadcast because it'd be good. Because I forgot all about it too. And see, this is how, and we're in the political know, and so if we don't know, we know the community doesn't.
Right.
And I think sometimes because you're not in the district. Like she doesn't represent, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, and particularly the black community. Right. Although there are pockets in her district, you wouldn't really know. I mean,
Right.
we barely know the ones that represent the district.
I know it.
But it was refreshing, given the fact that there's been some tension and some old racial demons have been risen up from the past.
Yeah.
What's been going on in the city council? I think it's important that we set the tone so we don't make the same mistakes that was done in the past. As far as the city council, 617-282-0685. We're in our season of giving. Last night we were able to provide a Christmas season dinner to members of our community. We want to thank Taste of Eden for catering the food and all the different groups, the volunteers that were able to come together, fellowship, and demonstrate love and support in this time. Many people are suffering in violence. We mentioned this, Pastor K and I, Pastor Karen Wall and I, who emceed the event with me. There are many people suffering, and they put on this front, as far as they dress themselves up, they're smiling, and yet they have so many bills and so many things that they're dealing with, grief, loss. I mean, I know my brother died on Christmas Day. In 1992, right? And that's the same year I started Dunk the Vote. And people were like, why you work so hard? And he was one of the referees in our first Dunk the Vote basketball games. So every Christmas, of course, I'm going to think about my brother.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And, and even the people we lost this year. So it's been challenging for me personally. And then for people are calling me for ministry and asking me to pray for them. And so I know there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of things.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, you try to put, you were out here and we're in the community, but we hurt too,
Right.
And then sometimes you don't want to show that hurt, but, I know what I went through the last 2 years. It's been 18 double hockey sticks, but thank God, that I do have a God that sits high and looks low, and I have a wonderful church community,
Right.
and the community itself, so I feel like they have supported me and helped me, and as I try to help them,
Right.
like I feel like I was born an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just have to really, I'm really looking forward to this program. My guest, Nika Elugado is my keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Lloyd and Russell Holmes guest speakers. And so we're going to have some young folks there. We're going to have one of my prior students who's actually coming to work with us.
Okay.
She's in her second year BU, so I'm very excited about it, so... Yeah, the Bible tells us train them up in the way they should go. When they get old, they won't depart.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm looking forward to it. As my boy, it's just a brand new day, and it's really time for us to really bring our young folks in and let them know about this political work,
Right.
and how to do it.
And what date is it in time and location?
It's January the 15th. It's at the Bruce Bowen building on the 6th floor. That's a Sunday. That's actually Martin Luther King's birthday.
Right.
And it also was my grandmother's birthday. So I'm really excited about that. But it's going to be from 3 to 5:30, and on the 6th floor. So if anybody have any questions, they can reach out to me at 617-515-6908. But I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you're going to be there. Pastor Bruce has already promised me that he's coming to support, so I'm happy about that.
That's great.
But we have some, we're going to have a couple of vendors. It's going to be, food's going to be good as always. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to, launch the program. Marcus Melder's going to speak. And, it's going to be a very nice event.
That's good. And again, it's Bruce Bowling Building in Nubian Square.
It's on the 6th floor.
6th floor.
Yeah, that's where you can look out and see the whole city of Boston from up there.
Right. So there's been a lot of talk and distractions with this January 6th. And Has it been anyone? Has anyone went to jail for that?
Not that I know. Well, I think somebody did.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who it was, but I believe somebody actually did go to jail for that.
Okay. No, I was just
I
curious.
one or two people, but I
I've
mean,
actually started to turn the news off. I mean, it was getting so depressing.
I know,
I
I
haven't
know.
I haven't really been keeping up on a lot of stuff, to be honest, with all these challenges I'm up against. But it's that right itself caused a lot of folks to become very cynical in reference to being a part of the political process.
Well, when you have a president that starts an insurrection, I mean, really, take. I mean, he's just been able to do everything that he wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like nobody's able to hold him accountable. And
Right.
God forbid if he tries to jump up and run in 2024. I don't know. He has these people following him, and
I think
I
the
don't know what to do.
Republican Party is starting to catch on.
Uh,
There's some still diehards, but I think that now people are starting to realize that they don't want to be a part of it.
right.
Governor Charlie Baker, he's now the president of the NCAA. He definitely played a moderate Republican. He was definitely, not a part of the Republican Party. Because, I heard him on one broadcast, he had mentioned that he didn't lead the Republican Party. He said the Republican Party left him in
Yeah.
Massachusetts. So, and he's like, considered one of the most popular governors. There was an interview that was done a couple of days ago, I believe, and they had said there was some talk about him running for president, and he said he's not running this term, but he didn't, say that he wouldn't do it in the future because of all the
Yeah.
accomplishments that he had made. But I still don't understand how, with all these accomplishments, how the MBTA, man, that was just like,
It's
whoa.
a mess.
It still is. It still is.
Yeah.
The trains run slow, and I don't know. It's just not good.
But that's why I guess we just have to stay the course, Ron. We
Yeah.
can't give up. A lot of times I'd be like, you know what? I just don't want to do this anymore, but I feel like it's a call and someone has to do it,
Mm-hmm.
I say, God forbid, we don't, we have lost a lot of our good people,
Mm-hmm.
that have been out here in this fight, and I always remember when I used to work with Chuck Turner, and he used to always say, once we got that ordinance passed, he used to say, but so it's not over, but now we got to make sure they enforce it, and he was so right, So it's just like when you're an advocate or an activist, it's a life calling,
Mm-hmm.
and so we just have to keep on pushing.
Yeah, I just want to raise this other issue that I noticed in the Bandits. A rideshare drivers rally called for right to unionize. Drivers cite low wages, poor working conditions. Massachusetts drivers for app-based services like Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash are pushing to unionize, and they are calling on state lawmakers to pass legislation that will allow the drivers to form or job join unions. This is according to the banner written by Isaiah Thompson. Drivers and labor advocates rallied in front of the State House last Wednesday. The group included representatives from SEIU, 32BJ, the International Association of Massachusetts, and its affiliates, the Independent Drivers Guild, and the Boston-based Chinese Progressive Association, holding signs and chanting pro-union slogans. Drivers and activists called companies like Uber and Lyft greedy and accused them of taking over greater shares of workers' earnings, forcing drivers to work ever longer hours for less, while at the same time bearing the responsibility and cost of everything from which maintenance to insurance to the risk of accidents and personal injury. Right now, as Uber and Lyft make more money, drivers make less, said Rosanna Rivera, executive director, president of 32BJ SEIU, which represents some 175,000 service workers across Northeast, including airport workers, security officers, and building cleaners. Wow. I was wondering what happened with that.
With the
The Uber drivers and the Lyft drivers, they're unionized. They had a rally in front of the State House to, to draw some attention to the way they're being treated.
right.
I always wondered how all that worked.
I know, because at first, when Uber first came out and Lyft, people were raving about it, how good it was, how you could be your own boss, drive when you want, and then all of a sudden, it just started getting ugly as things do.
Well, I know when they first started, it seemed to be a lot less expensive, and then when COVID hit, all of a sudden it was like, wait a second, these prices seem as if they doubled. Maybe because of gas prices. I don't know, but it doesn't seem the same to me.
Well, plus, I don't know who started Uber, but whoever started it, that it was a good concept because we can't even get cabs in Roxbury. However, like you said, when COVID, everything kind of doubled.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting you mention that because that was one of the key factors for me is that the drivers really didn't know who you were unless you put your picture up on the Uber line. And to your point, not only did they not go to Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan, they didn't want to pick up black people who were black people.
Right.
Black drivers, I'm talking about, right? And
so
so
there was a lot of craziness going on with it, and I thought it was a good alternative.
Right.
However, once it starts, everybody starts getting into it, then they always want to, make their buck off of the little people. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank you, too. Pastor Wall mentioned this for getting all the PPP gear, the mask and everything. And I just have to remind people that the pandemic is not over. There are other infectious diseases that are going on. I believe it's RSP or RV. There's some other virus with these young people. And I think that we actually need to kind of, mask up again because there are a lot of folks. It's almost like a badge of honor. Oh, I caught COVID, or I tested positive for COVID. Like it's no big thing. I'm like, wait a second. People are dying from this.
I know.
So I just want to encourage people, all our viewers, listeners out there, continue to wear masks, and particularly indoors. I know there was some talk about the Boston Public Schools are going back to wearing masks after the vacation. I don't know when they're going to make the decision.
Yeah, I heard that too. Like they're going to have a mask up for a couple weeks after they come back because they've been everywhere. The kids have been on vacation and, probably out of state.
Right.
Maybe, out the country and stuff, so, yeah.
So are you wearing masks indoors and everything still?
Yeah, I normally do. I normally do when there's a lot of folks.
You know what it was like? Even last night, I felt somewhat uncomfortable because, some folks don't know how to keep a distance. Don't come talking up in my face. It's like, back off. Black folks need a little space. And then some folks don't understand. You invading my space, Never mind COVID. Just don't come up on me like that, right? And and then don't have a mask on, and then you spittles and Anyway, it's just like I just want people to be careful because I remember how we were like checking temperatures, people wearing masks, and it was you seen a lot of folks. A lot of diseases weren't spreading as much, and so and I'm not saying that's gonna it's definitive that masks are good, but it's better than not having it. Because I've noticed that when I don't wear my mask, boy, you can smell everything. You can just smell it. It's like you go into some of these tea stations, it's like, whoa, I'm putting my mask back on.
Yeah.
617-282-0685. It's a pleasure talking to you this morning,
Yeah.
Sister Priscilla. You want to announce your event one more time so people can know?
January the 15th at the Bruce Bowling Building from 3 to 5:30. It's going to be the launch of the Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute. For more information, give me a call at 617-515-6908. Flyers and everything's going out, so you'll be seeing it on social media and all the good stuff. Because I know we can't talk about not prices and stuff. So, but yeah, I
Okay.
look forward. I'm looking forward. I appreciate y'all, Pastor Bruce. I love you. Love you, Ron. And
Back
let's just
at you.
keep it moving. Let's keep marching on, as our friend Larry Wolf say. I remember he did our BG song. I just
He did I
yeah,
know he did one for you too, right? Yeah.
yep, he did. Yeah, he did the BG song. So yeah.
Do you still
Well,
play that?
no, we don't play it
Okay. Oh yeah.
because it's power with Priscilla.
Right.
It's
Okay.
a report. So
Okay, good, good. And also, we're in the process of working on a guide, and we may have a couple of volumes on Know Your Government, so people can learn how to, one, find out who the elected officials are, but two, how to access services and to tell the difference between city, state, and federal government. So it's going to be a number.
right,
We had a planning meeting last week with some of the leadership team for Dunk the Vote, and we had so many ideas. They want to even. We're working with MIT to put some of this online. Of course, with our website, dunkthevoteforever.com.org, but also just we're coming up with some technology that you can find how to get trash removal. There's an app that one of the students at MIT was showing us. It could be very useful as far as people being able to understand how to navigate. Like, for instance, we'll have the guide, which a lot of people, some people may not read, but there is a way that if we don't have the information in the guide, that they'll be able to go to this app and be able to find out like ways to get resources, how to access services in your community, your neighborhood. So we're really excited about the potential of getting this done with some of the students at MIT. So,
great.
yep.
That's what
617-282-0685. We're in the season of fundraising for the station here at Boston Black News and Boston Praise Radio and TV. If you're interested in supporting our efforts here so we can continue to bring you the news, the good news, and some of the news that we need to learn about, please send your donations to our Cash App BPR TV, or you can go to our website, to bostonpraiseradio.tv, and you can touch the donate button, and you can help right before the end of this year as we go into 2023. And as 2023 approaches, we are planning to expand our communication and our media services here at Boston Black News. We're looking to expand the other room, the community room, where we're able to put a studio like GBH or the one that you see at the Boston Public Library in Copley Square. We really want to upgrade our services here, but we need your help. We need your help to be able to do that. We have some potential donors that are looking to help support our efforts. Pastor Wall had mentioned the renovation of the kitchen. We're looking for those who may be skilled in the area of carpentry, electricians, some of these unions who are able to help us with this effort. And of course, some of our corporate donors and foundations that are out there that are willing to help us be able to provide civic education through the media. So please help us. We need your support. I really enjoy being here on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. There are other broadcasters. Sister Priscilla, she has power. What's it?
People power with
Priscilla. People power with Priscilla. And we have Healing Our Land with Pastor Hobbs. We have Mamley on Saturday mornings. And we have a number of other broadcasters that are here volunteering their time to be able to educate and support and hear from you so we can help each other. Please come and support our efforts here at Boston. If you are not computer savvy, you can send a check to 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass. 02124. Check out the Boston Praise Radio and TV. So we really want to thank all our supporters and all our listeners and viewers so that we can continue to do what we do here at Common Square, Boston Praise Radio and TV, and Boston Black News. So we're going to be taking another break coming up, and I'm waiting for my engineer to come and finish out. You have any final words, Priscilla?
No, I just want to say for everybody to be safe, Happy New Year. And let's try to, work together next year coming up and really get some things going around civic engagement and around teaching our young folks and working with them. And like you said, there's older people that don't know. So,
right.
we need to really be able to educate our people. And the radio station is a perfect platform to do it,
Right.
We really be able to get more donors and more partners and more sponsors, because this radio station is what's happening.
Right. And do you know the date of the swearing in of the governor and the swearing in of the attorney general? Is that all the same time, or them a different, the swearing in of the state senators? Is that all in one location?
I don't know. Well, that's a good question. I think I don't even know, because
yeah.
I would think that they would do them all at the same time, but they're different offices, so they may all have something different. So,
yeah, we need to find that out, because I was invited by one of the new elected officials to come to their swearing in, their inauguration. So I didn't know if that included the governor as well as the attorney general, who are the first this year, and as we go into 2023. And I really hope and pray that, folks really start to get involved and get engaged, because, when I go to different neighborhoods, in particularly downtown, Back Bay, Seaport, you don't see us. And when you do see us, they're not us from here, and it is very discouraging. We're not enjoying our city. And, there's so many buildings being put up. Have you seen the building over on Mass Ave? Not Mass Ave, on near Boylston Street? They're building it on the Mass Turnpike? Right
oh,
near,
yeah.
how?
Yeah,
I would not go. I don't know if I'm going up in that building. That is on the highway.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
So, they talk about there's no space for housing, so they decided to build on the highway. they created space.
And there's I'm telling you, there's so much building going on. It's ridiculous.
And no grass. We were talking about that earlier. There's no grass and trees in our communities hardly.
Yeah, because they're building all these buildings.
All these buildings. There's no alleys. Remember, there used to be alleys? There's no alleys. It's like you just see buildings upon buildings upon buildings. And I don't even know what's going on with the codes. It's just so much. And if you're not up on these things, you will miss it. And
That's right.
and I really, I am really praying that the black community really start to get involved and get access to some of these resources that are coming to Boston. And because it does not seem that it's fairly distributed. And partly maybe because we don't know, and partly because it's intentionally done so we won't be able to get the resources we need. 617-282-0685.
I gotta go, Ron. Love you.
Okay, love you
Talk
too.
later.
You take care. 617.
Bye-bye.
You have a great day. 282-0685. We're here at Boston Black News. We talked earlier about Larry Wu. He's still with us in spirit, and his legacy carries on. He has made numerous songs for various organizations, and particularly Dunk the Vote, as we celebrate our 30th year anniversary, as well as various political candidates that, the ones I actually worked for, and other organizations such as BG, which I just found out, the Million Man March, and so his legacy lives on. So we saying hello to you up there, Larry, and we want to make sure that your music continue to encourage people. And the sister that was on the Boston Black News, she was on People Power with Priscilla. I definitely need to get in touch with her. Pastor Wall had asked me, who do we go to for songs? Now, Prince Charles Alexander, who did a lot of the mixing, he's a 3-time Grammy Award winner. And also, I want to get back in touch with the sister. I got to find out her name. Danielle Ruffin. Yeah, she's the sister who sang with Larry Wu. So I have to definitely get her information. I know, Priscilla, I should have asked you when you was on the line. If you're still listening, make sure you send me her information, because we will need something nice and fresh for 2023. So we're going to be taking a station break. And I want to encourage people, if you're still interested in giving, Cash App BPR TV, and we will be right back.
Many of our children are dying from police brutality, and now voting for us is our responsibility.